Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see. Maybe hit like and subscribe, and I would love to know what you like to stitch. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you taking the time to also press play and to hang out with me as we talk all things cross stitch. So thank you. I have a little bit, I'm noticing it's a little bit different. You can see this. I had about a foot of space between the end of my DMC cabinets and the wall. So I was able to find a kind of bookcasey, really skinny bookcase, about 11.5 inches. And Mo put it together for me this week and we stuck it in there. So just another area for storage. I still would potentially like to have something going on up the wall there, but we'll see as we get going. But if you're noticing it looks a little weird, that's just why. Alrighty, so before I talk about my cross stitch for the week, I do want to just throw out a general. It's September 19th, so we are just under a month for the deadline for the artist trading cards. I know in my video I said October 10th. That's kind of an awkward sort of date in my mind, so I'm going to go with October 15th, absolute last call. So think of 10th as the kind of in the back of your mind, and if you need those few extra days at the beginning of the following week, the absolute end cutoff is October 15th. If you're not sure what trading cards are or what the swap is or anything like that, if you go to my playlist that is Artist Trading Cards, the most recent video talks about the autumn swap that we currently are all stitching for. I know what I'm stitching, I just haven't stitched it yet. I'm looking for the fabric I want and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, so I have the usual number of projects for you. I did play my version of AB Single along with Whip into Shape and the Gridiron Grind and my soccer stitch and all of that good stuff. So lots of fun things, I think. And I do have one finish at the start, I should say. Whew. Nope, no finishes. Couple that are close, but I do have a start to show you at the very end. Alrighty, so let's get going. I'm going to start with my Whip into Shape piece this week. I switch around how I show my projects, and when I have something like AB Single, I do show them in the order of the days I stitch them. That's going to come at the second half of these. I'm going to do all the ones that were not AB Single, and then I'll jump into that. Sometimes it's the opposite way. The rest of the projects, or most of the time, my projects are not in any particular order. Just whatever happens to kind of tickle my fancy for order that day. So many of you will know what my current Whip into Shape piece is. Oh, I think I started that one. I started this one now a couple of years ago. My list on the iPad is chronological, so I have to go back to some of my earlier whips. This is Summer Quaker from Lila Studio, and that's what it is designed as. I was going to say what it would look like, and mine will only loosely look like that. I did do a fair bit of color conversion, and so mine's not going to look like that. Such a pretty pattern though. Alrighty, so here we go. I'm kind of stuck in here. Let's see if I can move back just a bit. There we go. So I can kind of show you this. Here we go. Look at all of this. I have something else on my board. So I said, all right, I could have done it on the flip side. I just didn't think of it. So I'm just going to hold it. This is my version of Spring Quaker from Lila Studio. Now you can see my colors are very, very different. If you're new, I did change all of the browns in the Quakers to greens. I changed the browns in the basket to other browns. I've changed some of the pinks and all of that. So let me come to where I am. The other thing is this centerpiece here can be done, the border can be done, I think, as a specialty stitch. I chose just to do the X's. This is 18 count rose hips from, I wrote Lila Studio. No, Rose Hips is from Under the Sea Fabrics. The pattern is from Lila Studio. Let me open this a little bit more so you can see the entire basket. I have most of, I'd say 98 to 99% of the outer border done. So I am concentrating obviously in here. And this is where I got to. I did this and I did this flower, if not the entirety, most of it. I brought in some more of those other pinks, brought down some of the greenery. I did a little bit of the trees with the grass, and I am now starting I did a couple layers of the roof of one of the houses right here. What has got me stymied, so I was stitching this, I was on a Zoom. I'm going to zoom all the way in for a second. And if you'll see here, do you see these flowers? They are charted in a yellow that I think I will use for the house, because this house, excuse me, this house is yellow. It might be the same yellow as the beehive here, which is, I think, what I'd like it as the house. I'm not sure if I'd like it as the flowers. I did kind of, these are charted to be like 03, which is a gray, and I went a little bit more bluey purpley with that, and I changed the pink, the light pink. The dark pink is the called for. So I'm wondering if I want to change the yellows as well. I think the yellow does go like in the center of some of the like this flower, and then on the other side, and then has its own set of flowers. So I still have yet more converting to do, but little by little I'm getting it done. So that's why I was on a Zoom, and I wasn't gonna, you know, go over here with my DMC book and then start to pull out all the DMCs. So I ended up just coming down here instead. I mean, the little town has to be done anyway, so why not? This here is repeated, so I don't know, maybe next time I'll bring that and then start making some decisions or coming down. We'll see. I don't mind stitching those little houses. I mean, I know there's a lot of color changes, and I'm not always a fan of multiple color changes, but they're small, and so they're fun. They remind me, Summer Quaker, I'm in that same spot in the center where it got all the houses. So there it is. Now, I was thinking, I have a plan, I think, for color conversions, and sometimes I know of some of the pieces that I change colors, I do get asked about it, which thank you so much for those of you who like my color changes and do ask me about them. And I was thinking it would be completely free, because there's a totally free side to Patreon. Nothing, you know, you have the free side and you have the paid side. I was thinking I need a centralized place that I can show them. Not everybody is on different types of social medias like Facebook or Instagram, although, yeah, I guess you could do a story or something in Instagram, a highlight. So I don't want to leave things there and leave people out who want to know this information, but I'd like a centralized spot. So if there was something you wanted to see or different patterns that I've done color conversions for, it would be an easy spot. So I am in the process of creating a free Patreon. It would be Stitching by the Shore, and there's going to be a collection. If I'm doing this right, I looked it over, where it would be color conversions. And so anytime I do one of these, when I'm finished, so like I don't even know all of the conversions yet, but when I'm finished, you could go to that area and you could find whichever one you were looking for, and that should give the color conversions. I'm just trying to figure out a way to kind of streamline things a little bit and make it a little bit easier. And then I have no idea what else I can do on there yet. I don't really do a lot on Patreon. I've only a little bit of exposure on it, so I'm not 100% sure. But like I said, it is going to be, I don't have anything to charge for, so I'm not going to. I mean, I don't sell things. I don't, you know, create patterns. I'm not quite sure I'll ever be good enough to create patterns and things like that, but I would like to share some things and have it all in one centralized spot. So I think, unless somebody has a better suggestion, that's what I'm going to do. So when this gets finished, I will have that completely up. And hopefully, if I figure everything out, I may have the Patreon up sooner than this is finished. And if I have any other color conversions that I've already done that I know I get asked a lot about, then I can just put them there as well. So stay tuned on that if you're interested. And if you have any tips, tricks, or information, I would love your experience. So I talked about that being my whip into shape piece. That is Andrew the Runner Stitcher's current kind of challenge to us. He is training for a marathon, and for every mile he runs in his training, I stitch 10 stitches. And if I go over, because I've been doing it once a week, I've been doing it on Sundays. I can show you my book. I'm so excited. We are still following Andrew on his little road trip here. Through the 12th, I am completely filled up. So it depends on how many miles he runs. It's within 5-mile increments. So you can see on the weekends he has the long runs. So I'm behind. So today is, what is today? The 19th. So that would be there. I will usually Saturday or Sunday is generally when I do it. We'll see this weekend. But, and then I kind of do it all at once and do some good chunks of stitching and then fill in as I go. So lots of people are still doing that, kind of whip into shape stitch along. So it's been fun watching everybody's progress as we go. And being able to cheer on Andrew as he trains for the beginning of November, his marathon. Okay, so next. This is going to get a lot of stitching only because I'm doing extra. This is Arabesque from Jan Hicks Creates. And I'm using this for my soccer stitch. We follow Aston Villa here in this household, and they are doing awful this year. The joke now is that the team, or Mo, my husband, will pay me not to do this challenge because it seems like since I've started it, they've played awful. Aston Villa actually played twice this week. They played their regular weekend game, and then I'm just looking in my book. So they have a page here. They played their regular weekend game, which was a draw, and then they played an extra game for the Carabao Cup, which I get confused what that one is versus FA Cup. So sorry, friends in the UK. I don't really know the difference, but either way, it was a draw, but they lost in penalties. So we have a draw and essentially a loss this week. The number of stitches depends on win, loses, draws, goals, cards, so on and so forth. Them getting yellow cards sometimes is what actually gets me some extra stitches. So the regular game, it needed 200. I did 308. The extra game this week, it needed 150, and I did, I didn't write it down yet. I know it's in this book though. Let's see, Arabesque. I did 3. Is that the right day? Yes, I did 308. No, that's the one we just saw. Arabesque, I did 255 instead. So about 550 stitches this week. And here I am. I am using an unknown 18 count fabric, and I am using, I think it's Elven Wine. Let's see if I can find the tag really quick. If not, I won't make you wait too long. It's from Stitchy Stuff Co. If you've watched me before, you know what it is. I'm almost sure it's Elven Wine from Stitchy Stuff Co. And I'm kind of doing it just the way I do variegated, just the regular rolled stitching. So there is some modest variegation in it, but it's pretty light. I am really enjoying it. I was inspired by Jan Hicks's colors, which is why I chose to do it this way. If you'd like to see it done in a couple different ways, Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, is stitching it in a beautiful color combo. And then Paula, stitching in high heels, is not making it monochromatic, and she has got a specific theme and idea that she's working on it, and it's very cool as well. So 2 different variations to see if there's another way you'd like to see it rather than the colors that I chose. And I focused pretty much, and you know, it's one of those, how is that 500 stitches kind of question, but it was. I focused pretty much on this element. So the first day they played on the weekend, I did a lot on this side and then came over here and did some over here. And then on the weekday when they played, I almost got all of that done. I ran out of time for stitching, so it did not get finished, but it's close. I may continue working on this big element. Let's see, where is the pattern now? There it is. You can see there, it is a giant element at the bottom, but I think I'd like to get it finished and then come back and work my way down. I do like the letters, and they're fun to stitch, but they're definitely kind of fancy, which is kind of nice too. So I don't see, trying to get those done first. So here we are. almost done at the bottom. You know, this comes around and that will be the full bottom. So it's a good size piece, to be honest with you. And this is 18 count. And that is the width. So there we are. Whew, voice cracking. We will see, depending on stitching between the football, American football, English football, soccer, whip into shape, AB single. There's a lot of challenges going on right now. I'll just put this on the side. And so, I mean, I get to some of them every week, and if I don't, that's okay. You'll just see extra stitching the following. All right, so this next one is also a digital, like the first one was. So let me go back to my listing. Now this one is fairly recent start. It's a small piece, so it will be done quickly. It is part of, and ignore the bottom part here because that's a separate. It's Time for Pickleball by Annabellas. She actually has 2 charts in the pattern. This one's kind of more of like an ornamenty, or I suppose you could do, I don't know, a pillow if you wanted a pickleball pillow. I could see putting that like on our kind of crafting tree, Christmas crafting tree or something, or hanging it somewhere. I don't know. But I'm just doing this one just for fun for Mo. Mo is my husband if you're new. He is a pickleball fanatic. In fact, he's off this week and he is currently playing pickleball while I film. He loves it. And so I just thought it'd be fun to stitch this for him. One of you had pointed it out to me. Thank you. That was great. And I snapped it up. I snapped up the digital version and here we are. And this one actually is so easy to stitch, you know, blocky wise, that you don't even need to, you can just do it off of the digital on your device. You don't need to put it into like a pattern keeper or a markup unless you wanted to know like the percentages. But I look at those and kind of then promptly forget them. So it doesn't matter to me. Here I am. I'm very close at this point. I have to finish, obviously, the paddles, finish the word doubles, and then I have an exclamation point, one more word, and then a couple of little things. So I would like to pull this out one more time this week. My anniversary is actually, I don't know what day, it's sometime next week. Towards the end of the week. Yes, towards the end of the week. So I just thought it would be fun to stitch this. I don't know. I might just make it kind of like a leaner and see if there's a way we can tuck it into, Mo works remotely here at home. And so he has a home office. And, you know, there's a large kind of bookcase that has books, and that's where like family pictures and things like that. And the Aston Villa stitch that I stitched last year for him is there. So maybe I can find a place to finish this off and tuck it there. This is 18 count lemon from Bestitchme, and I purposely chose it because the balls that he uses for pickleball, because he of course has bought a bunch to practice, are yellow. So I thought it'd be fun to bring that color in. So that's what it looks like. So hopefully this one will come to you as a finish. I don't think he knows I'm stitching it. I've never stitched it, I think, around him. So unless he's somehow seen it otherwise, then it should be a surprise, which will be fun. I didn't go out of my way to try to make it one, but that's just kind of an extra fun part of it. Let's see here now. I am doing my full coverage piece next. So I put aside Minnie Watching the World, right? Isn't that what we did? No, we did Minnie Paris Morning last time. And so I had gotten my numbers there on that one. So I said, I want to pull out one more for this week before I start the big one on Monday. And I'll talk about that when we go to plans. And so I pulled out, you haven't seen this one in a while. And I'm just looking, oh, there it is. Looking for it here to show you what it will potentially look like if I ever do finish it. I have a long way to go. I would guess, if I had to guess percentages, I'd be lucky if I've hit about 10%. So this is Laslo Koday 1. It is charted by Stitches So Beautiful, and the artwork is by Laslo Koday. I have lost track of how many she now has. I know it's in at least the low 20s now. And the pieces are very colorful and whimsical and almost silly at times. If you look, you sometimes will find animals in the trees and things like that. So it's just kind of fun. I when I went to decide on this one, I decided it was the colors that got me. I really liked all of the bright colors. Now I did put this one on a board, and you're gonna slightly, it goes right to the edge of the stitching, but I just thought, okay, it'd be easier to do it this way. I am really hemmed in today. I have to figure out how to fix this for next week. So this is edge to edge, and so you can see it's right to each edge. I have lots of fabric left, so obviously there's lots to go on this one. It is nice and tall, but this is the full width. You are getting that from edge to edge. And I am doing this on 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1, full cross. And as I am wont to do when it comes to full coverage, as you can see, there's really no rhyme or reason to how I stitch things. I stitched some more of the kind of sky area over here. And then if you'll see, there is another tree. Yes, so we have the one over here, this one, and then one more over here. These trees are highly confetti, so they are slow going. But what will be kind of cool now is if I pull out highlight a certain symbol, I might be able to do it here, 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 and kind of jump around a little bit, which would be kind of cool. Just a little way to make the confetti a little bit less wearisome. I also did almost all of the confetti that I had left around here. So this part is almost completely done. I know I added some more color. I started to bring over here, just a lot. I have a tendency just to jump all over, and from day to day when I pull it out, I never know what I'm going to do. And what I think I'm going to do the night before, when I get it the next day, I say, nope, I'm gonna do something else. So that's what it looks like. I did get 1,000 stitches, just got it on this one. So this one is now put away, and on Monday I will start my brand new, I haven't started a full coverage I think this year yet. I'm almost sure I haven't. So, oh boy, my voice is cracking all over the place. But I don't think I have. So that's kind of a new thing for the year here. I've got enough started, so frankly, that's probably why I haven't, to be honest with you. Alrighty, this one got a couple of good stitching sessions, so I'm really pleased. I think I'm probably about at 70%, so we're getting there. This is called Snackle Lantern, and it is from Boomerang Stitches. And it is just super cute. And there we go. Let me show you where I am. And the more I do this, I'm really, really pleased that I went a little out of the box on my color choice here. I know you're saying it's blue. How out of the box can it be? But I feel like it's a pretty bright blue, and it really pops. This is 18 count Ocean Blue from Bestitchme. Let me bring that raccoon just right up. And I did this pumpkin is no joke. So I had all of that to do. And then you can see I've brought it down here. I think I had some fill in of some of the gray of the raccoon. And then I came in, I filled in that entire lollipop, this entire lollipop, started a little bit in a couple other places. There's gonna be one there, and there's the edge of one there. I was getting ready and I almost decided to start the bowl, but I figured, let's get some more of this orange done because there's so much of that's gonna take the longest time. I remember, what was it? It was the Spring Mingle. I'm almost sure it was the Spring Mingle. I was in a stitching room. That was one of the Lindy Stitches virtual retreats. And everybody was talking about this and wanting to start it. And, you know, I'm always on board to jump on stitching something if it's something that I would normally stitch. And so I said, absolutely, this one's adorable. And the idea was to maybe try to get it finished by this weekend, the fall harvest. I clearly won't, but maybe I'll pull it out this weekend, although lots of things to stitch, so we'll see. If not, maybe a goal of having this one finished by Halloween. I don't know what I would do with it, whether I would scrapbook it or make it into like a cute little leaner or something like that. We'll see. There's lots and lots of pieces yet to fully finish. It's funny. Halloween and Christmas, I do a lot of smalls that I am apt to finish as kind of either leaners or ornaments kind of thing, whereas the rest of the year, not as much. I don't generally put stitching out in most of my house. Most of it is up here in the crafting area, but I do find that I do like to put it out for that. I was debating on having a shelf here with one of those, just a small shelf, and then underneath the shelves that I have in my craft room, Mo put little hooks underneath so that I could hang things from. So I thought that might be fun. Now with the addition of this, the shelf would actually come right up against this because it is the width of from here to here, which is not necessarily a problem. I don't see this going anywhere at this point. I mean, it's tucked in the corner. It'll be a great place to store things kind of out of the way. So I have to figure out if I'll like that look of it butting up right against it. I think it's enough that it wouldn't impede, say, the shelving and the things in the shelves. So we'll see. My goal has always been to kind of have something behind here, but I don't know. I don't know what the final answer is, but I do also like to have, let's show you this one right here. I was trying to decide. Usually I'll sit down and I'll say, oh, this is very empty. I usually forget to put something out, and then I get up and I look. And I went to the big scrapbook. So this is my 12 by 12 scrapbook size. And I said, I haven't put anything really big out lately. So I looked at what I had and I said, how cool is this? This is a Caterpillar cross stitch. It's a set of, there's 4 different seasons you can buy. This is the only season I've done. And I thought I might do all 4, but I think I'm only going to do this one. I don't think I'm going to get any of the other ones. I believe Janet Jabber, a long time ago, I'm pretty sure, Janet, you stitched all these, correct? And she did a beautiful job with them. But I thought, how fun is this? It has an owl and it has a fox. And we've got owl and fox stitch-alongs going on this month from several people. So I thought, well, that's kind of fun. I can showcase my owl and my fox from a previous time. This one here is a simple finish. Actually, I just layered a piece of cardstock behind, and then I cut a couple of squares, which I cut in half, and I kind of matted it. Remember back when we would have photo albums and they would have the picture corners and you would just stick your picture in? That kind of reminded me of that. And so I did it for this one. And I can't remember what that's called. It's Caterpillar cross stitch. I haven't looked to see if it's there still, but it was, I don't know if it was a stitch along like a mystery at one point, a long time, like, well, relatively long time ago, 3-4 years ago. I'm not 100% sure on that. But now we have the little display there. So we will see what happens behind me as I kind of get used to this new cabinet or bookcase, and I have an idea of kind of what I want to put in it, but I just have to make that a realization. And of course, buy supplies, container organization supplies. Okay, so what's next? I hadn't pulled this guy out for a little bit. It is the 2025 Santa, yes, from Prairie Schooler. Now, I am not stitching the outer border. I'm not stitching the words. I'm not stitching these snowballs at all and kind of those back stitching. What you're going to see in the end when I'm finished is Santa with the, well, I guess now it could be a sack of snowballs, not toys, depending, and then him throwing the snowball. And I chose this fabric because I have a different one. Let me show you actually. That is stitched on this fabric that is also kind of snow related. So I thought, well, that would be kind of a nice combo. So I don't remember what year this one is. Do you remember this Santa? Maybe 2 years ago? When I finish this, and I'd like to make these ornaments, I think I want to put a snowflake Brad here. I think there were words there. So instead of stitching more snowflakes, I thought that would be fun to put a Brad there. But obviously we went from snowflakes to snowballs. Now, we don't have any snowballs yet, but that's Santa. I know he looks odd because he has no face. I did change the face color. I don't know what it is at the moment. I have to look at my books and go back and see when I stitched that one. That color worked well for that Santa, so I'll probably do the same for this guy. But I'm pleased with the progress. I did the hat, and I'm in the midst of, you know, kind of the little snowball that Santa's about to throw. And then this entire half of him was not stitched. So we had some arm, but not even the full arm. All of this got stitched. And then I started to come over a little bit here. I think what I'm going to do now is to go back to the snowball, his glove, his arm, and work my way down that way. But at that point, then it's just the legs and the feet, because I'm not doing any of the other snowballs. I thought about potentially keeping like the pile below him, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to like having him be a little mischievous with throwing a snowball. And I don't know what this fabric is. It's a scrap. This is pretty much all I have of the scrap. And this came from it as well. So I did quite a few of my Prairie Schooler Santas on a jade from Picture This Plus. So then I decided to try a different color. And then I may throw a few on the neutrals. Maybe a Vintage Country Mocha, or, you know, kind of like a Rustico oatmeal kind of thing, just to shake it up a little bit. I like to kind of change them up and make them a little different. Alrighty, I might be jumping now into Baby Single for this next one. I didn't write that on the notes, but I'm almost sure. Yes, okay. So we are jumping into AB Single. Let me show you my box. I do have a bingo. AB Single is a challenge that was created by Carolyn Zook and Robin from Bird's Eye Stitches. And they have a Facebook page called the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge, MMCC, I think it is. And they do all sorts of, well, they do acrostics and themes and fun pop-ups and things like that. And then they do some bingo-like challenges. They are doing an AB Single this year, but they changed it from last year. I decided that the way it's changed looks really fun. However, you will never get a blackout because there's too many squares to the days of the month. And I like to complete my challenges and show them as completed, and things like having a blackout. So here we are right now. I'm not going to show you what I stitched yesterday. You'll see that next week, as I have enough projects to show you. But I did get the stitching in. And today I picked the letter R, which will give me a second bingo. And I know what I'm going to stitch for that. So you'll have to come back next week and see. So my letters and how they're picked are different than what is being picked on the official challenge. I thank Robin and Carolyn for the inspiration, and I'm actually doing it the way they did it last year. So I technically really haven't changed it even. It just is an older version. The 1.0 version. All right, so last Thursday, I chose the letter W. I don't know whether to put this, I'll put this over here so I can see it a little bit easier, so I'm not looking behind me. And I chose Wings of Change by Silver Creek Samplers. The other thing that I am trying to do is, there's 25, obviously, letters, so there'll be, and I've dropped the letter Z. So there's 25 boxes. I am trying to do 25 different pieces. So therefore I touch a minimum of 25 of my projects this month with the challenge. And I do that with any of these types of bingo-like challenges. I do try not to repeat. My I Spy, I try not to repeat, although I will repeat between other people's challenges, of course, just not within a specific challenge. If you're wondering and you're new, I have upwards between 80 to 85 projects. So there's plenty to choose from. Although by the end of the week, especially with letters in the alphabet, it could be challenging. So this is where I am. I didn't get quite as much as I was hoping. So the official rules are just a minimum of 100, or I think an hour, because you can do it for time if you don't count. I try to get closer to 200 just to kind of get that little extra set of stitching in. And I think I did not quite get that on this one. I ran out of time on that day. I've completed all of the greenery here. So and this leaf was my main focus. There's now the giant leaf, which has another caterpillar on it. So I think what I might do, I might try to outline it, stitch the caterpillar, and then have just fill in, and that would be nice and easy. I also, as you can see, am trying to do the outer edges of the butterfly, and then the fill-in will be fun. I did some because I chose my own variegated floss for that, and I wanted to make sure I liked it, which I do. So I'm now trying to get it all filled in. So I did do some of that as well. And if I hadn't run out of time, I probably would have continued up here because it would be nice to have the outline done on that. Everything else, the words are all done and everything there. Except for this orangey kind of variegated, I am using all of the called for DMCs. This is 18 count bell bottom blues, and it is from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. This one comes out, we did have a stitch along with this one. It's, Butterfly Wings Sal, hashtag Butterfly Wings Sal. And people changed the colors of the flowers and just have done beautiful things with it. I am still going. When I have stitch-alongs, they truly are just kind of, I know a lot of people like to call them start-alongs. We just stitch whenever, you know, and stitch to however. There are no deadlines. It could take you 5 years, and that's just fine. Some of these will probably take me 5 years to do in the end, but that's okay. Alrighty, so the next day, the letter N was chosen, and I am really trying to pick some pieces that I haven't stitched quite a bit this year, and then other times I go with one of my favorites. I chose November Gnome from Wonderstitch UA, and these are the set that you get when you order, and I am stitching this one. And I chose the fabric I chose so I don't have to stitch the background. And as I've said, I'm not stitching the grounding circle. I am knee deep in here, which there's 5 or 6 colors in that beard. And I know it will look cool in the end, but I am just really kind of struggling with it. So this side is done. All right, so this is it as a whole. This is 18 count Buttercream from To Die For Fabrics. It's a very, very lovely color. And I really like how this and the browns and then all of these kind of fall colors look on it. I will say this is a challenge, but these gnomes, they're charted all in DMCs, but you can see the colors, things just seem to pop. Like this flower just almost pops off when I look at it like this in the camera because of all of the different colors. So I know in the end this will look good, but in the meantime it's a challenge. So this side is completely done, and then you can't see it because it's very light against here right now. I did a bunch here, came over here. When I got really bored with these colors, I did do a little bit of brown. I'm not gonna lie. I needed to get something else done. And I think I did. I'm almost done. There was a little bit of confetti down here. There's a little bit more. So I can almost guarantee there's a pumpkin here. I can guarantee this is not going to be finished before I say, I need to jump to that pumpkin for a little while. So this one will be, I would give this probably another couple years just because this one, I think these gnomes are super cute, but they are a bit more of a challenge when it comes to the coloring, and those kind of beards, those are no joke because they definitely are intensive and the colors all kind of look alike. So as you're looking at it, you have to go really slow. Alrighty, so the next letter was H, and so let me go back, and I chose. I knew, now this is a case again of where I chose to, in challenges when you double dip, it means you're using one piece for multiple challenges, and you can do that with 2, 3, 4, whatever number of challenges you want. This one is my gridiron grind piece, and it's also came, I chose it for the H for AB Singo, and it's Witch's Hollow from Autumn Lane Stitchery. So every time Clemson University plays, this is the piece I have been pulling out. And so Clemson hasn't been really setting the world on fire either, to be honest with you. In fact, they lost this past week. So they play Georgia Tech, and I don't do it the way a lot of people are doing it, where it's whatever the score was. So Clemson scored, how much did they? Oh, I didn't put the final score, but they scored 21 points. So a lot of people are doing that times 10, for example, 210 stitches. I decided not to do it that way. I kind of wanted to just, you know, have fun with other stats as well. So I've assigned a number of stitches for wins, losses, touchdowns, field goals, sacks, turnovers, that kind of stuff. And then I go and I look at the stats at the end, and I figure out how many stitches. Now, 111 stitches were needed. I did 308. It is so funny. Now, I did not plan this at all. And Arabesque is a hand one, is paper chart, so I don't have it in Pattern Keeper. This one I do. When I added up the stitches, I think I did this one. I don't even remember how I did it, what order. Both Arabesque for the weekend game and this each got 308 stitches. I couldn't have done that if I had tried. And that was like finishing a strand the whole bit. So this is where I am. I'm still really just stuck up in the extremely full coverage part. If you can see down here, this will go faster because all of that orange is the fabric, which is why I have this beautiful fabric from those missing stitches. It's 18 count genuine Gillian, and I just love it. And I think I did a lot of black over here. We are done with the moon and now coming down and around with some of the purples there. And then also kind of over here, it's kind of a grayish green. So we did some of the buildings over here as well, or I did. I'm really trying to get that kind of full coverage part. I keep going back and forth to the areas, slowly working my way. I don't do anything like typewriter method or just across or squares or anything like that. It's a very imprecise way, but I'm thinking I'd like to get this top part done and then just really work my way. And I may do it by one side, work my way down, but that's where we are. And I suspect if Clemson continues to play the way they played this weekend, I will be doing extra stitches than what is expected of me. Oh boy. Again, I'm a jinx. I am a certified jinx. Alrighty. The next day on the 14th, the letter T was called, and I did the Prairie Schooler for this one. I am doing, this is from the Evergreen booklet, and I am doing them, I won't do all of them. I do like several of these. I wanted to make sure I was holding this so I don't show you the back. But I'm going to do them all singly. And I am doing for the Gonna Be Owl Right Sal from Jen's Fiberweb. I decided to start with the owl. So let me write down Jen's name so I know I can link her. And I have other owl. I'm hoping to get a few more owl starts in. We'll see. I mean, we are already on the 19th. I don't know how the month is going as fast as it is, but there's this guy right here, and I'm not going to do, if you'll see, there's little tiny like red, I don't know if they're supposed to be French knots or what. I'm not doing those kind of little kind of berries. I'm kind of going to do the greenery a little bit different, but here I am. There's my owl. So this is done on an 18 count vintage country Mocha, and I stitched all white. I think that's all white that I was working on this time around. So that's what I got for that one. Not a lot to see there, so not a lot to talk about. I am using the called for colors on that part of the piece. I don't think I'm changing anything. Like I said, just changing around kind of the branch or where the owl is and around it kind of thing. So, all right. Then on Monday, the letter I was chosen, and I pulled out ink circles, strawberry square. I'm getting there. I probably maybe have 2, at most 3, but I might be able to swing it into stitching kind of full sessions if I had a bunch of time to do this. Let me pull out the floss actually, because I am using a DMC variegated. It is 4220 is, I don't know if that's going to show up there. Let me just go against here. It's 4220. It's the DMC, you know, one of the DMC variegated ones. And I'm really, really liking it. I am not doing any kind of fussy cutting. I'm not figuring out where the light to dark is. It's a fairly variegated floss. So, and you can see, I think I was definitely inspired by the colors here, even the fabric. This is 18 count time worn from Mystic Fabrics. I just saw somebody stitching on something with this fabric. I kind of cycle through Flosstube, so I really don't remember who it was, but it was really quite nice. And then I thought, oh, that's what mine is. So you can see it is fairly variegated, and I am just running with it. And I'm not even doing it like in a specific way. Again, this time I really felt like getting this corner finished, so I did mostly over here. But I could have thrown in extra here, and it wouldn't have, you know, phased me. So you can see I essentially have, except for a little bit here, 3 of the 4 repeats done, and I just have that small one to go. So maybe 2 sessions. I can't remember the percentage it said. I mean, obviously you know what I'm stitching because it's over here. But our mantra, right? It's more than you think. It's never as little as you think. It's always more than you think. Alrighty. So the next piece I am doing, oh, this was actually, I want to say, did I start that I started it earlier in the week. I did. And then the letter J showed up. And I said, well, this piece is from Just Cross Stitch, the Halloween 2025 issue. So that's how I pulled out J. And I really, really wanted to get a finish on this because it's small. I mean, really, there's no excuse for why it shouldn't be finished. However, as usual, I miscalculated how long it would take me. This one, oh, let me see who it's by. Let me just open up the magazine very quickly and see who it. All right. I don't know if I can find it fast. I didn't mark it because I didn't think ahead thinking, oh, I should probably tell you who designed it. And I started from the back and it is near the front. That was, okay. Milo Mini by Xenia. And it is called Beware. Now, if you remember when I did the flip through, this was one of those pieces that I thought was super cute. And it'd be a fun little quick stitch. I am not stitching the words. So that's what mine's going to look like right there. Now, you can see here, for the main part of the yellow of the bee, that was... So originally, it's a Gentle Arts that's called for. And then they suggested 445 as the alternative, which is this color. And I felt like it was a little too fluorescent for me. So let me show you what I did, and I'll show you then what, that's where I am. The suggested alternative, do you see how bright that is? And I didn't really want to go, it's kind of fluorescent-y, especially when you look at the dark part, you know, just a little bit there cheeks-wise. So I went with 726 instead for the yellow, and I really like that alternative. All the other colors are, it's funny, so that one is Gentle Arts, then the other 3 are Gentle Arts Simply Shaker, I don't even know what that is, with DMC alternatives. And for the other 3, I did use the DMC. So here we go. This little guy, though, he is intense. I luckily, though, have done, I got him all outlined. I was a little worried because it didn't look like it was lining up properly, but it did. And I got all of these center yellow sections done. So now this one is just fill-in, and that's it. All I have to do is black stitching upon black stitching, and he'll be done. So now Pickleball is probably my number 1 goal to get finished this week. Number 2 would be this guy, because really, but he'll easily be done. If he's not done this week, then the week after that, if I don't get to him this time around. So that was just a quick start. I kind of was hoping for a start and a finish for you, but way more stitching than I thought. Now, if you watch Karen, the Stitching Owl, she had I think it was in her video a couple weeks ago, that was all just finishes, maybe. and her daughter stitched it, and then Karen fully finished it. And I think it was that video, and it's very cool. As usual, Karen does the most awesome full finishing, and it's very, very neat if you'd like to see it. And her daughter stitched it in its entirety. That fabric was 18 Count Haunting by Fabrics by Stephanie. And then the very last one is my new start, and the letter was L. Now, I knew I wanted to start this on the day that L came up, and so I did one of those that it's technically true, but, you know, it is Blackbird sampler, and there's the letter L in the sampler, so that's why I pulled it. I really wasn't sure. I'm sure I could have thought up something else here to do the letter L in, but that's what I chose. I also, and I haven't really been telling you things with I Spy, but if you're stuck with something that's shaped like a star, like I used there's quite a few of these kind of little symbols and pieces that are kind of shaped star-like. So if you were stuck on that one, pull out a sampler or Quaker or something, and there's probably something on it that would work for you. Now, I had told you I was debating on this one, whether or not, let me pull out the floss I'm using too. I wanted to go with a more light traditional fabric or go a little bit off the wall. So when I see this, now this is stitched, it's a black silk, but it reads blue to me in many of the parts of it. And so as soon as I saw that, I knew I kind of wanted like a blue-ish thread. And then that took me down, well, what goes well with the blue? I didn't really see it on this fabric, although the bluish gray, which was the other option, would have worked. But I just kept looking at this and I said, you know, I want to go a little bit just brighter and just do it. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't what you would traditionally think of when you see this. But I would just keep thinking about it. And I kept thinking about this color and I said, you know, I am just going to do it because I'm not going to spend all this time stitching on something and then regret that I didn't try out of the box and a little bit more out there. So it is called a Blackbird sampler, but there's nothing, it's all blue. The thread I'm using, it is a Threadworks, and it is 1024. So there was one that I had chosen, if remember when I showed you last week, that was more variegated, but in the end, I decided I don't want that because there is some modeling here in the fabric. And because I went with a deeper, kind of brighter color, I didn't want to have variegation then on top of it in my stitching. So I really like it. I'm really pleased I went with this one. I thought, as I kept waffling, I said, I'll regret it. I know I'll regret it if I don't at least give it a go. I figured if I hated it when I started it, I could have just restarted it. But I did get the entire top border. I decided to do that first, just to kind of get some border-ish stuff done. Then I came back, did a couple of the elements that are part of the border, and then just a few little motifs. So you can see the border goes, that border goes two sides, and then it's a similar-ish border, but it's different down here, and then nothing over there. But I enjoyed this one. This is Pansy Patch, if I forgot to tell you, and 18 Count Celestial Tide from To Die For Fabrics. So let me show you the entire fabric. Isn't that pretty? Now, of course, that might seem overwhelming when you look at it as a totality, but when it's stitched, they will just be pretty kind of bright and light and dark colors mixed in all in between with the dark blue. And I think it is a little bit taller than it is wide, so I don't know how far down it will come. But that's that. That's my start. And I am stitching this one. Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner also started it this week, same day as myself. And Mary is doing it differently than I. So it's, again, so cool how we've got quite a few stitches that we're doing together. We have more coming up in October, so stay tuned. If you want to join us with any of them, you are always welcome to. I love to see your interpretations as well. My favorite thing is when there's a pattern and people stitch it all different ways, because it's so cool to see what everybody has seen and what they visualize when they go to stitch something. So please, always, I would love to see what you're doing. But yeah, so Mary started as well, different than I, and so that's kind of cool. Alrighty, so that is the stitching. That's what I've done this week. So actually 2 starts, not the 1, and hopefully next week you'll get at least 1 finish. Boy, my schedule will have gone completely kaplooey if I don't get anything finished, to be honest with you, which is always possible, right? I want to show you I got these cute little stickers, and I couldn't decide how to put some more in, but look at these cute little owl stickers. For this, that's for my owl, Gonna Be Owl Right Sal from Jen's Fiberweb, and look at this guy. And then I decided I wanted to put another here. Part of me was like, can I do a whole row of owls? But I wasn't sure if that would look kind of silly, so we'll see. But I had to have at least this one. And so I've got 2 whips. Yesterday's AB Single Call had an owl on it, so you'll see that next week. And then at least another start, hopefully maybe more than 1. So we'll see. So what are my plans? This weekend is the Harvest Moon Hangout. And I did buy a ticket this morning before getting ready and filming. I am in and out this weekend. I know, I think Mo and I are going to try to go out for an early dinner tonight. So I will be out and about. And then obviously Sunday morning, I have to do my bowls at the beach and any other things that might come out and about. So I'll be popping in and out, and hopefully I will see some of you. I kind of pop all around for rooms. I never know where to go, to be honest. Sometimes I watch and see if people say where they are in a room, and maybe I'll pop in there. And I really, really do like the meet and greets from the designers. That's one of my favorite things when I go to these. I'm not sure I will buy anything because I have a couple of digital charts to show you that I bought this week. And then I have plans to buy next week a couple others for an upcoming stitch along that is going to be in October that I'm participating in. Excuse me. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Once the shopping hall opens, then I'll see. One never knows, right? So I've got that. I've got all the challenges. So we have AB Singo will go through the 25th, which is Thursday. So that will be the last day there. And so the last 5 days of the month, I will not have any AB Singo to do. I'll have my Whip into Shape that I'd like to continue to go. My really lofty goal would be that'd be awesome if I could get it finished while Andrew is running the marathon. I don't know how many stitches are in it because it's not a digital. Well, I bought it digital, but I printed out a working copy. I didn't put it into a device. I didn't have one, I think, at the time. So I really don't know how much is left for stitches and if it's even doable. But it would be kind of a fun goal. And then you may see the gridiron grind and the soccer stitching. We'll see again what we've got there. I'm trying to think if there are any other challenges or things that are getting me. I don't know. The other thing I'm going to do, so we are, a week and a half away from the beginning of October. October is my birthday month, and I like to celebrate it the entire month because, why not? I will be turning 56, and why not just celebrate all 31 days? Just a little bit of fun. And so I do and have done for the last 3 or 4 years a hashtag Pumpkin Birthday Sal. And so I invite all of you to join me to stitch something with a pumpkin colored fabric, floss, pumpkin adjacent. If you can really kind of think of your way having a pumpkin somehow in there, or it should be there or something, I'm fine with it. I just want to have fun with all of you with our stitching and just create like a little month-long event. So if you are participating, please always let me know. I love to see what everybody stitches. And I know some of you are carrying things over from the previous year. And that gets me to what I'm thinking of. I'm going to start gathering what I may or may not stitch this month. I really don't know. Somebody asked me recently on a Zoom, do I know what I'm going to start for my birthday? And I have no clue. None whatsoever. Witch's Hollow is what I started last year because that was a pumpkin colored fabric. Ironically, I don't think it has a single pumpkin stitched on it though. So I'm going to gather what I have, see what I want to stitch, Plus, there could be other starts in October. It doesn't always have to be pumpkin, right? But there will be some. And what I may do, I was really inspired this week, Jen from Jen's Fiber Web. Jen, I've talked about you a lot this week. She did a fun extra video because she did a Halloween kind of stitch event last year that she did for all of October, Halloween stitching. And she's repeating it this year. And so she put out her video and she showed what she had carried over, what she potentially like to start, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, that would be so much fun. I honestly don't even know what I still have from all of my different years of doing this. So I was thinking I would pull out all of the whips that I'm still got going. If I can find some of the finishes that I have finished, started for my birthday stitch along, I might pull those out and then show what's a potential for a stitch. So I don't know if that would happen next week or the very beginning of the following week, which would be right smack at the end of the month. We'll see. I don't know yet. So an extra may be coming from me, so keep an eye out on that. I gotta kind of grab my book of projects and see what I've got and just pull everything and see if I can pull it all together. So maybe that would be fun, I think. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you, Jen, for the inspiration. So that's also part of the plans that are going on. So they're always kind of fluid, in flux. I do like the challenges, so I do kind of always keep those in the back of the mind when I'm picking out projects. Alrighty, I did get in the mail. I always like to show when the trading cards come in, so you know if you've sent it to me that I have received it and it is now safe here. Sometimes it's very, very safe, but no, I have a specific spot that I put all the trading cards, I promise. I just like to let you know, so that way you know that it did get to me. So Vivianette, I did get yours. The post office did rip it slightly, but luckily your cards are fine and we didn't lose anything. So thank goodness for that. But Vivianette, thank you. I really liked what you stitched. So remember, October 15th, absolute final deadline, please, for sending. Alrighty, shopping. What did I get? I had ordered from Etsy a bit ago, and they came in. I am stitching one of my Halloween stitches with Black Cherry from Stitchy Stuff Co. And I wanted to pick up some more. I have a hank of it, but I'm not sure. Let me see. What can I use to put this against? Let's see if I have a white piece of cardstock right here I can pull out. I think I do. Okay. So this is Black Cherry. I grabbed another couple skeins just to have for other things because I think it's so much fun. I really do like this color. It's a lightly variegated. I wanted to show you it against. I did find this one. It's called Vintage Purple. And you can see the difference. This one is a much deeper, darker, almost blackish purple, like deep eggplant is the way I would look at it. And this one is a more vibrant purple. So I picked up those two. And then I picked up, I don't think this one will work, but there's a piece that I would like to start that I want to find. I'm on the hunt for like the perfect red floss. And I picked up some when I was at Floss and Flame. And then I also picked these two from Stitchy Stuff Co. to see what they looked like. This brighter one is called Cinnaberry, which is quite pretty. And then this more, magenta-y, kind of brownish-y one is called Backyard Barn. Darker and more weathered maroony. So I picked up these two. I have no idea what color I eventually want to stitch it. It's something I'm going to think I'd like to buy next week. It's a digital pattern. I'll tell you in a minute about it. But I'd like to do reds. And so I'm looking at that. And then that was it for the floss. And then I did pick up a couple of small little minis or smaller pieces from Nathnalu on Etsy. I think I had seen one of them on Instagram and it was just so stinking cute. And everything was 25% off. I said, I'm going to buy a couple of these smalls. So I might just kind of, for October, if I have some smalls, I might just start a bunch of small Halloween pieces just because. I mean, I know some of you get really stressed out with the numbers, and while I don't get that feeling, I can completely understand that your feeling might be completely and is completely different than mine for different things, and including one of them would be whip count. I could have 1,000 whips and I really wouldn't bat an eye. It wouldn't bother me in the least. I know for some people 10 is stressful. So hopefully you're not stressed by watching me start everything. And if there's anything you would like to start and stitch together, please let me know. I don't know what these are called because I just grabbed the pictures from them. All three are from Nathnalu, and they're probably on the front page because it's Halloween. So how adorable is this? I mean, just so cute. They all look so cheerful. Even the ghost and the jack-o'-lantern, even the skeleton doesn't really look scary. I'm a cute Halloween sort of person. I'm not, and I mean, there are some like Serena Sprout. I mean, I wouldn't call her cute, but I'm not into like super scary. I don't watch scary movies. I have such an imagination that I would never sleep again, to be honest with you. I still sometimes have nightmares from things I've probably seen when I was a teenager. Again, don't know the name of it. The ghost holding the frog. I mean, seriously, so cute. That's the biggest of the three that I bought. I mean, I could almost see, those mushrooms are cute, but you could just do the ghost. Well, you could just do the ghost and the frog, quite frankly. That would be an adorable little small, like a little small ornament. Or you could do on the kind of this little hill if you want to bring in some more greenery. But it's just so pretty, the entire thing, to be honest with you. And then the last one. So two of the three have pumpkins in them. So they really would go with the pumpkin birthday stitch along. Look at this pumpkin. I think this is the one I saw on Instagram. And I just said, oh boy, I really love this one. So if you're inspired by any of those, let me know. I am already planning to start with Mary. Mary and I are going to start this one, I think October 1st. And I don't remember something embroidery, something. I'm sure, I know I have it somewhere because I showed it to you a few weeks ago when I bought it, or whenever I bought it. So, you know, feel free to jump along. That's got a pumpkin on it as well. But the other thing I would like to buy is, and I was talking about this with Mary and Karen, the Stitching Owl, and I think what we're going to do is not a specific piece, although Mary and I are probably starting the same one. I know Karen is not, but I have been really inspired, and I have one chart from Yasmin. Yasmin's Made with Love, and I'm probably maybe 50% of it done, but I really enjoy Yasmin's charts, and I thought I'd like to do some more. And so Mary and I looked at them, and both her and I really like, this is called, it's got some things in front of it. Ooh, yeah. It's called Gothic Bat. I don't think I took a pic. Let me see if I took, no, I don't think I took a picture of it. So that's what it looks like as big as I can get it. Isn't that very cool? So I was thinking of the purple fabric I got a few weeks ago at Floss and Flame. I think I'm going to use that for this. And again, I was thinking maybe some more black cherry floss. I don't know. I know Mary would like to start that one. So if you are interested, I'm not sure when we are going to start it. Sometime at the beginning of October, though, I believe. And then I was having a tough time finding, I don't think, oh, wait a minute, there it is. This one, it's not necessarily what I generally stitch. I mean, there's something like 7 alphabets on it. It's called Abecedarian. I don't even know how to say it properly, but isn't that beautiful? So that's where I'm on the hunt for a red floss. I just love the look of this. Wouldn't that look fabulous on Darling David, Karen? She was teasing me about my use of Darling David from those missing stitches. But if I found an awesome red, I think that would look fantastic on that fabric. So I'm on the hunt for whatever red I want. But isn't that beautiful? So that one is also in my my mind to buy. And then if you go to Yasmin and you look up flamingo, I think, Karen, you've convinced me that I need the flamingo as well. Pam from, Pam, are you Ditsy Daisy Crafts? I think. I'll link Pam down below. And she just had a video out, came out, I think yesterday. So something to watch. Although this weekend Flosstube watching may take a hit because it is the harvest moon. So if you don't watch this until during the week, I completely understand. Pam is doing one of in the fruit series. I think she's doing the lemons. I really, I was going to say for some reason, I don't know. They're beautiful. So, but I'm really drawn to that fruit series, but I don't know. I know I do want to at some point stitch the lemons, and I'm not sure what else. So I haven't really explored that, but that's something that's potentially down the road. But if you do want to see it, one of the fruit series started, go to Pam's videos. I don't know if she'll show it in this video because I haven't seen it yet, but I know she showed it, I think, in the last one. So some fun stuff with Yasmin. So if you'd like to jump on with any Yasmin chart, I don't know exactly when we're starting. Sometime at the beginning of October is really all I know at the moment. So maybe next week I'll talk to Mary and Karen and see if we have a better idea, if we want to kind of narrow it down to a specific day, and I'll let you know. Or any time is really, it doesn't, as long as you're kind of show me what you're stitching so I can see, that's all that matters. Okay, that's it. So we had some actual shopping, some future shopping, and that's it. If that's all you're here for, then thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a fantastic week. And if we get a chance, maybe we'll be able to say hello to each other at the Lindy Stitches event this weekend. But life stuff, like I said, Mo has been off this week. It's really funny because the more Mo is around, sometimes I get less done, although he had a list that he is steadily working through. He's never so happy as when he has a list of things to do, because he is one of those types of people that likes to just putter around and do things. So I'm always sometimes looking for things like, what can I do? What can I give him to have him do? We did move my younger child up to Northern Delaware on Monday. So there was a caravan between the U-Haul truck and a couple other cars. The whole bunch of us were all going separately. I was the official, when we got to the apartment building, I was the official foreman because I can't really carry heavy things and lift them and so on and so forth without really hurting myself. So I would stay with the truck while they would do all the kind of labor back and forth. So when they had to go up, the elevator, go down, take the stuff, all this stuff. So I would get in a few stitches on the Prairie Schooler Santa, then I'd put it down. Okay, what's next? Then do a few. I did lift a couple things I probably shouldn't have, but I felt like I wanted to be more helpful. There was a little bit of a shopping that went on after that, and then it was a long day. It was a tiring day, but it didn't rain. Tuesday and Wednesday were total kind of washouts with heavy, probably 50-mile-an-hour winds and lots of rain. And thank goodness that was not moving day, because that would have been just a complete and utter disaster. Everything would have gotten soaked. So we kind of stayed closer to home. Mo is in his element. He played pickleball on Wednesday. He played pickleball this morning. He had a dentist. He's just doing all of his kind of stuff, going in, flittering in and out. I went to lunch with a couple of friends yesterday down at the boardwalk at the beach. And that was lovely because the weather turned on Thursday yesterday and was completely beautiful, in the 80s, sunny, the whole bit. And I think this weekend it's supposed to be in the 70s. So I think we're still getting some nicer weather and kind of fallish weather, which I will take all of it before winter comes. I get very cranky in the winter, just warning you. So yeah, so that was pretty much it this weekend. Like I said, I did you know, I'll be popping into Harvest Moon and then just kind of popping in and out to other things and things, nothing major going on, type of thing. I didn't really read much. I'm listening to my same book that I've been listening to. I had to actually renew it. Luckily, nobody else wanted it because I'm still about 40% left to go. So I just haven't thought of listening to a book this past couple weeks, so it's been slow. And I haven't really read anything. I don't know what the book for October is. I probably should look at that because we're already 2/3 of the way through September. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't read anywhere near as much as I used to be quite honest. TV-wise, Mo and I are working our way through Happy Valley. We got through the very first season, and now we're halfway through the second. Still enjoying it. And then on my own, I started watching Law and Order UK, and it is, I remember, you know, like we like to say, back in the day, watching the original Law and Order here in the States, and I never really watched any of the offshoots. I just watched, and I never watched it, the original, probably all the way through. I don't know when I stopped, but I do remember it. And so I said, oh, you know what? I like that format. It's kind of, and it was a good show. So let's try the UK version. And I'm in season 1. I don't know how many seasons are on BritBox, but I'm enjoying it. It's very well done. And again, a lot of these kind of stories make you think and so on and so forth. So I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it if you like that kind of Law and Order kind of TV show. It's set up the same way with the police, and then the, you know, so the first half is investigating the crime, and the second is prosecuting the crime. So, all right, well, that's about it, I guess. Not much else going on to speak of. So I will say goodbye at this point. I hope you are well, my friends. I hope you are safe. As always, I always like to finish off with this because it's so, so important to remember, my friends, that you are important. Each and every one of you, you matter. Just you matter. I don't even know how else to say it. Just know it, believe it deep down. It's just so important for me to make sure I try to be here and cheer you on. If you're doubting you yourself as a person or anything, you are important and you matter. So please never, never forget that. Okay. Until next time, happy stitching.